Hello Rovers, welcome to my Depths of Illusive Realm in-depth guide for beginners. After diving deep into the depths, I've put together this guide in hopes to help you make the most out of your runs. This video took me quite long to make, so I would really appreciate it if you leave a like and comment your thoughts on whether this guide is helpful or not. Now, let's dive right in. Upon entering the event page, you will see these three buttons on the left side of the page, namely Thought Evolution, Anomaly Investigation, and Elusive Specimen. When you open Thought Evolution, you will be greeted by a chain of nodes. Each node contains a certain buff that will become available to you after an unlock. Some nodes grant simple buffs, like HP or attack buffs, while others can change your gameplay drastically. For new players, I recommend rushing to get this node with the sword symbol unlocked. This node buffs all your resonator and weapon levels to 80 in the depths. For example, my Verena and Encore are both below level 80, but thanks to the node, they are level 80 for the depths. Another excellent node to unlock is Dodge Recovery 2. It provides you a chunky shield for 3 seconds and has a quick cooldown of 6 seconds. This is a great way to boost your survivability. If you're having trouble surviving, you can always unlock the nodes on the top row first. They will give you a pretty defense boost, which complements the Dodge Recovery 2 node when you unlock it, further enhancing your survivability. After unlocking those nodes, just keep on unlocking the nodes further down the tree for more buffs, which will aid you in your runs. As you clear some depth runs, you get memory points, which is the currency to unlock these nodes. By clearing the harder depths, you obtain more memory points. But if you're looking to farm memory points, I recommend sticking to Stage 4 instead. The payout difference between Stage 4 and 5 is just a measly 6 points. However, Stage 5 requires a lot more effort to clear, so it's not worth the extra hassle if you're just farming. In Anomaly Investigation, you'll find a series of tasks to complete for various rewards. If you're short on time or just want to prioritize, focus on completing the tasks that give a stride. The Elusive Specimen opens the Elusive Store, which offers some pretty good stuff. For newbies, I recommend buying the Malleable Elite Echo first. It's a 5-star 3-cost Echo selector that will significantly boost your resonator's early game damage and help increase your data bank level. In version 1.4 of Depths, a new feature lets you claim rewards after each boss room. You can claim up to 12 times per week, earning materials and, most importantly, echoes. Alright, let's dive into the elusive stages themselves. From Stage 4 onwards, you will start seeing a reward drop rate multiplier. Let's make a quick comparison. You will notice the lack of this feature right here in Stage 1. This multiplier increases the rewards you get at the end of a run and is influenced by the memetics you choose. The more nightmare memetics you pick, the higher the multiplier, and vice versa. If you're not confident in handling the debuffs from nightmare memetics, you can always start a run without them. The downside is that it'll take longer to unlock all the nodes and farm everything in the shop. If you're looking to try out some memetics, I recommend Wreck of Despair and Blackened Blade. Blackened Blade only increases enemy HP by 25%, and honestly, I've never really felt the stamina recovery debuff from Wreck of Despair. Just use your dodges sparingly, and you'll be fine. For some extra insurance, consider picking up Turtle's Reverie under the Reverie memetics. This gives you a constant 30% damage reduction, as it's super easy to achieve Symphony Rank B. A few simple hits on the enemy and you're already there. Now, let's talk resonators. Each stage offers trial resonators, and I highly recommend trying them out to get a feel for their gameplay. But if you prefer sticking to your comfort zone, you can always use your own resonator. Unfortunately, Havoc Rover isn't available in this game mode. Only Spectro Rover is an option here. For newbies, safe picks are Verena and Bizy thanks to their self-healing capabilities. Just keep in mind that these are support units, so their early game damage is abysmal. When you begin your run, you'll first talk to the Ivory Gatekeeper, who offers you 2 choices for resonator enhancement. If you want the full breakdown of what each option does, don't forget to uncheck the outline at the top right of the screen. As of version 1.4, there are 5 different echoes you can get in the depths. First, the Thundering Mephis, which I consider the weakest of the bunch. It feels clunky to use and doesn't deal much damage. While decent for handling groups of enemies thanks to its level 2 ability to group them together, it offers little value when dealing with bosses. Next is Crownless, which lets you transform into him after unlocking the level 1 ability. While his damage falls off in the end game, the transformation makes you immune to all forms of damage. This makes him a solid pick for beginners who are still getting the hang of combat in WoA. Next is Inferno Rider, who specializes in launching collaborative attacks. After hitting enemies a certain number of times, he appears on the field to dish out extra DPS, and locking his abilities requires fusion-type metaphors, which often boost resonator damage. This echo is perfect for players who are already familiar with the combat mechanics and those chasing damage clips. The last two echoes are incredibly strong. The one I'm using for this run is Dreamless. Dreamless' main selling point is her ability to automatically summon your companions once your concerto is full.
Fight back! Fight back!
To maximize her potential, it's best to have two companions during a Dreamless run. The final echo, the Bellborn, is the best of them all. It's an all-in-one echo that starts by providing excellent survivability. As you unlock more of its abilities, Bellborn lets you deal significant damage while freezing most enemies, except for bosses. The metaphors needed to unlock Bellborn's abilities are primarily defensive, with a few offering exceptionally strong offensive boosts. So if you see Bellborn, just pick it and you're almost guaranteed to clear the run. After obtaining an echo, your next stop is Illusia, where you'll select a token to further enhance your abilities. Often, she will give you two tokens to choose. The left token provides a small buff with no downsides, while the right token offers a significant buff paired with a debuff. In this selection, the right token gives a temporary debuff of minus 80% defense for the next 3 rooms, but successfully clearing the rooms grants Verena a 60% attack increase. I recommend picking tokens like this most of the time, as the permanent buffs are worth it after meeting their conditions. However, there are cases where you don't want to choose them either. For this specific token, avoid it if you're only 3 rooms away from the final boss room. On the other hand, some tokens offer both a permanent buff and a lasting debuff. For these, think carefully about whether you can handle the trade-off before committing. Here are some of my favorite tokens that I would usually pick during my runs. The Wings of Bane token reduces your defense by 80% for the next 3 memory rooms, but once cleared, it gives a permanent 60% attack buff. It's a fantastic pick for boosting damage, though I'd avoid choosing it if I'm only 3 rooms away from the end of the run. The second token I like is Burst Domain. While a shadow of its former glory, it still gives 50% extra dream fragments, letting you buy more metaphors in the shop during your runs. I highly recommend grabbing this token early on if you see it. Another token I'm a fan of is Rebellious Dark Flames. It sacrifices 35% of your max HP in exchange for doubling your Symphony rank progression speed. For those unfamiliar with Symphony rank, here's what I understand about it. It's a combat scoring system that grants you buffs as the rank increases. You can increase the rank with successful attacks and dodges, but it will drop if you get hit or stay inactive for too long. The fourth token I recommend is Spark Trigger. It grants a 70% damage increase at the start of each new room, and you lose the buff only if you take damage. There's no real downside to this token, just dodge properly, and you can keep that 70% buff active for the entire room. The last token I recommend is Lucky Greetings Collection. Like Burst Domain, this one is especially useful in the early game, as every White Cat encounter gives you a chance to receive an extra metaphor. While you can't choose which metaphor you get, it's always worth picking up since it's free. Now let's talk about the different rooms you should prioritize in the Depths. Here's a list of the various rooms, sorted in priority order to help you decide which ones you should enter during your runs. You can pause the video here if you want to check out the priority order, but don't worry, I'll be explaining each room type as well. The first priority is the Bridged Landscape. You can easily spot this room by its distinct background, which looks like this. In the Bridged Landscape, you can obtain companions to aid you during your run. I highly recommend choosing either Verena or Bai Z as your companion. Activating them when your concerto is full provides healing and buffs, making your run significantly smoother. In my opinion, after getting one companion, you can start prioritizing other rooms since having a single companion is usually sufficient. The exception to this is when you're using Dreamless, as her potential is maximized with multiple companions. The second highest priority is the Mystery Dreamland, a rare and incredibly overpowered room. Its door always spawns near the exit doors, so keep an eye out. Inside, you'll meet one of the Resonators from the 1.4 main story, who will give you two metaphors. Afterward, either the Ivory Gatekeeper or Ebony Gatekeeper will appear. The Ivory Gatekeeper provides a character enhancement, while the Ebony Gatekeeper offers everything in his shop at a 50% discount. The third priority is Deathmatch Rooms, where you'll face time-gated objectives to earn full rewards. To maximize your haul, go all out and clear all the enemies before time runs out. Completing all objectives grants you two metaphors and one token. If you only complete one objective, you'll still get two metaphors, which is similar to the rewards from Fierce Struggle Rooms, our fourth priority. The main difference between Fierce Struggle Rooms and Deathmatch Rooms is the absence of time-gated objectives and a token in Fierce Struggle Rooms. However, there's a special swimming pool-themed room you should watch out for. In this room, you can grapple towards the exit doors, but don't leave just yet. Run past the doors to find a hidden third room behind them. Defeat the enemies there for an extra metaphor. The fifth priority is the training room, but this applies mainly after you've secured two character enhancements. Resonators tend to perform exceptionally well after obtaining their second enhancement, so you'll want to head to the first training room you encounter to grab it. After that, you don't need to prioritize training rooms as much. Next up is the Dreaming Room, which is mostly RNG-based. Sometimes you'll get really lucky, and other times it's just a mediocre experience. However, after several runs, I've noticed a little trick. If you happen to enter a dream room that's full of cars, break the middle car in the closest row, and the second car from the left in the middle row, and you'll get some extra metaphors. As far as I know, the rest only gives fragments. The last room to prioritize is the Rest Room. This room has a shop, a cat, and a healing fountain. You should go to this room if it's your only option or if you've been stacking up on a lot of fragments and need to spend them. For the other two rooms, Combat and Unknown, don't bother with those. They're not worth it. Within those rooms, you want to look out for breakables like this. You can find them via the sensor gadget. Breaking them would usually give fragments, but I've noticed that the rock breakables can sometimes spawn in a cat too. In the red grass area, keep an eye out for cracked rocks with white symbols on them. In the pool stages, look for those pool floaties. And in the urban area, watch out for glowing boxes. Last but not least, let's dive into metaphors. Generally, you want to aim for metaphors that share the same attribute as your Echo to unlock its higher level effects. However, some metaphors are so powerful they become must-picks, even over attribute matching options. One such metaphor is Scorching Sun in the Forest. This metaphor is particularly strong in the early game due to its ability to deal significant damage, making it a great pick to speed up your runs. Another excellent metaphor is Resounding Bell. When paired with the Dodge Recovery to Node, it provides consistent shielding and lets you deal 500% damage every 10 seconds.
That's a lot of damage!
Another one of my favorites is the Dusty Book, which allows you to cast your ult consecutively twice. This is great for Resonators who are able to deal big bursts of damage with their ult, such as Xiangli Yao, Spectro Rover, or Camellia in the Depths. There are plenty of other metaphors with powerful effects, but listing them all would take forever. Let me know in the comments if you'd like a deep dive into metaphors in a future guide. And with that, we've finally wrapped up the in-depth guide to Depths of Illusive Realm for version 1.4. Hope y'all have found this video helpful and remember to follow me for more guides like these. As always, happy Depths diving, Rovers!